right, guys, Talk Shit Sports. We're back here. Angel O, Jimmy Weed. We're back in the house. So, Jimmy Weed, what's happening?
Dude, it's been incredible. I need to start, getting my arm ready. See if even at my age, there you go. I can, if I can get a tenth or even 1% of the kind of contract that these guys are getting in the NFL nowadays, we'll be doing okay. If not, you know what? I'm gonna get my kids to start throwing the football. Even my daughters, I'm gonna get them to start throwing a football around. Maybe they can land some kind of NFL contract.
Yeah, I mean, the money's crazy. I mean, but it's only quarterbacks, though, Jimmy. I mean, you think about it. I mean, who gets like their franchise is tagging people today, but that's 1 year. But I mean, it's the quarterbacks that are making all the money. I mean, I think baseball still has the good contracts. So
that's why I'm going to get them to start throwing the ball.
Or you could be a pitcher or a quarterback. Either one, you're making big money.
Then I'm going to, if I want to be pitchers, I'm going to tie their right hand behind their backs and just make them be a lefty.
Oh, like remember who was the player? Was it Jim Abbott? Remember he had the hand, the glove with one hand, like.
Yeah, the guy that pitched for both
Angels, right?
University of Michigan, the Angels, and the Yankees. He had a perfect game with the Yankees. Or no, a no-hitter. He had a no-hitter with the Yankees. I mean, that's incredible.
Think about it.
One hand, yeah.
And we got two. And look at it, we got two. My baseball career ended really early when I became a dad at 16, so had to go to work. But we're talking big money, big news, more money. Had to make money back then. Responsibilities, and so does Dak Prescott. Big contract. I mean, big money, big guarantee. The biggest, what is it? The biggest signing bonus or the biggest year?
Biggest signing bonus ever. $66 million signing bonus. The contract altogether is $160 million for 4 years. The first 3 seasons, it averages out to $42 million, but the first year is $75 million. Because I guess it includes the signing bonus. So that's a lot of money. The Cowboys are going to need to restructure a bunch of deals, a bunch of contracts, because right now, before they actually signed Dak, I believe they were only like $19 million under the cap. And with the salary cap going down this year, it's going to affect them really bad. I mean, they can't even, before signing Dak, they can't even sign him and have room because I believe the first year, the only hit that they take to the salary cap is $22 million, but they don't even have space for that the first year for Dak. So there's going to be a bunch of contracts that are going to be, restructured, and, good for Dak. He's been doing well. He had a great season the last couple of years. Before he got hurt, he was passing for like 400 yards a game, it seemed like. So good for him, but this contract is structured heavily on the back end so they can actually maneuver, all that money. But it's incredible. I mean, $160 million. Whew.
I mean, what would you do with $160 million, Jimmy?
I would say, what wouldn't I do with $160 million?
Where would you be right now? Where would you be with $160 million right now? Where would you be?
I'd be on some beach, with
maybe St. Bart's,
a nice
St. Bart's, Nikki Beach,
somewhere nice. Somewhere nice, back and forth. You know what? I've always thought about this too, and I've talked with my kids about it all the time. If we ever, like, let's say we won the lottery, if we did something, we had a lot of money, what would we do other than travel? Because, that's the one thing everybody wants to do. But I would have to do something to stay busy. I couldn't just, chill like 365. I would have to do something. Have a business.
You could do what I do.
Get that running. Yeah, absolutely.
Golf every day. All day. Trying to get better.
Yep.
Very challenging sport.
You've gotten better.
For sure.
You've gotten better. But what do you think? I mean, what do you think about, did the Cowboys make the right decision?
Yeah, they made the right decision. They had to pay Dak. Dak's a good. I don't know why it took to the last second, the last day. This deal should have been done last couple years ago, a year ago.
Yes, agreed.
Dak is I don't know why. I don't know Jerry Jones. I don't know what he's playing here, but to pay Zeke before Dak didn't make any sense. Dak's a good role model.
And Amani Toomer as well.
Yeah, Dak's a good role model. He's good on the field and off the field, which is you want that in a quarterback. And Dak's been through a lot, man. He lost his mom to cancer right before, I think he lost her when he was in college still. They're at, where'd he go? Mississippi State or somewhere? I think he went to Mississippi State.
And his brother passed away as well.
His brother committed suicide, they said.
Right.
I mean, the guy's been through, even though, people think, these guys make all this money, when you make all this money, you don't have problems like everybody else. They think, guy's been through a lot, he's always showed up. He's always delivered. He's always, top quarterback. Who else? Everyone else is they're paying, for God's sake, they paid Jared Goff.
Yes.
Carson Wentz.
Yeah, exactly.
I know those guys, went to a Super Bowl. I know Carson Wentz was hurt, but still though, it was a good deal. Cowboys, Jerry Jones going to have to pay the tax or whatever luxury or whatever tax, he's going to have to, he's got the money, he's got to cut some players. They're going to have to, I don't know. We'll see what happens with the team. But when they sign a big contract like this,
they need help on the defensive side of the field of the ball as well. So, that's why they need to restructure deals, because they're going to need more money to sign all the guys that they want to sign. They don't even have money. They don't even have money right now to be able to go into the draft and pay, all the guys that they're going to draft this year. So they need to move a lot of money around. Otherwise, this is a huge contract. But like I said, the money against the cap is only $22 million as opposed to $37 million had they tagged them once more as the franchise player.
Look, no one feels sorry for them. They're billionaires. They'll figure it out.
Oh, I feel
they got the CFO, the CPA. They got everybody out there figuring things out. They'll be fine. But like you said, they got to get good at the draft. They got to get really good at drafting good players and really stacking them. The Cowboys were a few players and plays away from going to the Super Bowl a few years ago. That O-line they had, Romo got hurt. Dak came in. I still think Romo should have went back in and finished that the whole controversial thing. When that happened, when he was ready to play again, but whatever, it is what it is. Jerry Jones is the new Al Davis, and they'll figure it out. But we know one thing: Russell Wilson's not going to the Cowboys.
That's for sure. And that was one of the things, one of the teams too that Russell Wilson had said, the Cowboys were definitely on his list. The others being New Orleans, the Bears.
Who's the other one?
Which one? There was one more.
I think it was your team, the Traders.
That's right. No. It's not my team. No, it's not my team. I am wearing black, but that has nothing to do with the Traders.
I know. I don't know why our logos there is black, but it's not silver. It's white. So maybe you blue. I think blue is a better color. But we're surrounded by a lot of Raider fans, aren't we, Jimmy?
Yes, we are. And I'm sure they would. I'm sure they would like to see Russell Wilson in a Raider uniform. However, I don't think that's where he would end up.
I don't think he makes him better.
A lot of rumors. There's a lot of rumors.
Russell Wilson on the Raiders, I don't think he makes them better. I think Derek Carr right now fits wherever they are. The only place I see him doing well is New Orleans. Even Chicago, I don't see him doing. And
that's the rumor. The rumor is that Chicago is really going after a trade for Russell Wilson. I don't understand.
I don't think it's a big deal, Jimmy.
They would be willing to part ways with Khalil Mack and send them to Seattle for Russell Wilson, plus I'm sure something else. But I don't think Russell Wilson makes the Bears that much better than Seattle is right now. I really don't.
Damn. Russell Wilson in Seattle will be a game changer right away because, it's set up for him. The whole He's got the whole package. I mean, ready to go. I mean, that's all they'd be missing is a quarterback. I mean, Drew Brees was not 100%. You could see the rust in him this year. But if Drew Brees was at 98%, it would have been a different ball game, in the postseason. The playoffs,
I agree. He just didn't have strength in his arm anymore, and you could tell. He wasn't throwing passes, deeper than 15 yards. I mean, when he passed for 20 yards and more, it was, far and few between.
Like you said, he looked like Peyton Manning when
he did. He looked like he had, he had a noodle arm, and that's what happened with Peyton Manning at the end of his career. He just didn't have zip on the ball. And that's when you've got to call it quits. Yeah,
because Drew Brees was pretty accurate. I mean, he just run, step back. I mean, he takes more steps back in the league than most quarterbacks I've seen. He goes way back and just fires that ball.
Yeah, he's like a 5 to 7 step drop back type of quarterback.
Well, he has to be. And short.
And exactly, because he's short. And he's very accurate. And this year what we saw is that, in the NFL, those passing windows are very narrow and they close extremely quickly. So when you don't have the zip to get that ball in there to your receivers, so those windows close. And that's why we saw, a lot of deflected balls, a lot of, interceptions like in the playoffs. He just didn't have it, to get that ball in there to Michael Thomas and the rest of his receivers. So, I think it's definitely time for a change in New Orleans. It looks like it's going to be Jameis Winston, but Russell Wilson would make him 10 times better.
Oh yeah, right out the gates. I mean, we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of rumors out there. He's saying he's not demanding a trade, and you know how that goes. But the rumors out there, well, we don't know. But the franchise tag deadline is today, and there's a lot of people. Goodwin from the Bucks, they franchise tagged him.
Chris Goodwin, yeah.
Chris Goodwin, Robinson on the Bears. I was Allen Robinson on the Bears, wide receiver. There's a few out there. Seattle won't franchise tag Carson, the running back Carson. I think they're trying to Pete Carroll. I guess Russell. They're moving. I don't know. They're changing things and moving on, or maybe they're looking for a new quarterback. In the trade.
Well, I don't know if the Russell Wilson thing doesn't work out, if it doesn't pan out, and they're really exploring, to move on from Russell Wilson, then you can forget about Seattle for the next 4 to 5 years, because it's going to take something completely different. And I think if Russell Wilson moves on, that means that Pete Carroll's era as well is coming to an end in Seattle. I truly believe so, because I don't think he's almost 70 years old. I don't think he's ready. Coach. Yeah, he's the oldest coach. He's not ready to go into another one of those rebuilding type of eras, 2-3 years with Seattle. He's not there. So I think that if Russell Wilson moves on, I think Pete Carroll as well may be moving on from the Seahawks.
Well, it's a matter of time. Pete Carroll's, I think, the oldest coach in the NFL. I mean, these guys had an amazing run. I mean, look what he did with USC and then Seattle. I mean, most college coaches don't do well in the NFL.
USC's still paying for what Pete Carroll did.
Hey, if anybody knows how to move money around and do money deals,
that's true.
Pete Carroll knows how to do deals. So you never know what's going to happen.
Ask the Trojans.
Man, they crucified the Trojans. They're still recovering from that. Oh man, they gave them the death penalty, man. That's for sure. Jeez, it's horrible because it's so many other teams have done worse, but they got, I guess they were the guinea pigs of getting, messed up by the NCAA. But Jalen Hurts are talking about, I guess the owner, Levine, he's talking about Jalen Hurts being the starter next year. That's his whole plan. That's what he wanted to do. He's going to build the team around Jalen Hurts and the Eagles going forward.
Well, you know what? Jalen Hurts is a mobile quarterback.
He's a winner wherever he went. He's
a winner. He played extremely well with Alabama until he got hurt. And then that's when, Tua came in the championship game. And then he went to Oklahoma. He did extremely well at Oklahoma. I think he's shown that he can be a good quarterback as well in the NFL.
It reminds me of like a
chance to
Dak,
prove it.
like a Dak Prescott. He can run if he has
Yes.
to. He can throw the ball. You know, the ones that that scare me, you know, as a running quarterback is like the Lamar Jacksons, the ones that the RG3s, the ones that they have a few good seasons in the beginning and then they get film on them. They run, and they get hurt. They get pounded like Cam Newton.
You know who really worries me is Kyler Murray, because he's a small guy. He's a short guy. He runs.
And he's in the NFC West.
Right. And he takes some big hits. You know, he was hurt at the end of last season. You know, he had like knee problems. He had ankle problems. It's just going to get worse and worse for Kyler Murray.
Look at RG3.
Yeah.
First year in the NFL, what did he do? Did he take the Redskins to the Washington football team? Now they call them to the playoffs, right?
Yep.
And then
after that, you know, he
downhill.
just kept getting hurt. Yep.
Now he's the backup in Baltimore. Now he's the Wildcat offense.
Exactly. Yes. He's the Wildcat offense. That's a good way to put it.
I mean, Harbaugh has to use him one way or the other. I mean, he's a good backup. I mean, you know, but yeah, Jalen Hurts reminds me. I when I saw him play a few games, I was like, even though he didn't have a good team, you could see the talent in him. You could see, wow, he looked like a Dak Prescott. Like, okay, when he had a run, he ran. When he's passed, he passed. But Dak, hopefully, he learned from his injury that hey, you slide.
Yeah.
You slide.
Yeah, exactly. You slide.
If you got any baseball skills in you, slide.
The one thing about Jalen Hurts is his problem is he's Philly's quarterback. And not only is he going to have pressure from within the team, from the organization, but fans in Philly are brutal. So if he doesn't have a great season, you know, in 2021, and then they're going to ask for his head in 2022. You just know it, because that's the way that Philly fans are. I mean, they're the only fans ever to have booed Santa Claus. So can you imagine?
Let me ask you a question. Well, you cover games there. I mean, you've been there on the field. How are the fans there? I mean, how are they?
They're loud. They're loud. You know, they're great fans.
I mean, they're
loyal.
Right.
They're hardcore. They're extremely loyal, but they demand a lot. So that's why I think Jalen Hurts, he needs to produce right away, because Philly fans are, you know, they're going to ask for his head. They don't take, you know, losing in Philly lightly. Not at all.
It's funny because I remember the first time I went to Philadelphia. I don't know if you've been in this area. It's down the street from Temple University. Oh my God. I thought I was in a third world country. I saw houses blown up and cars blown up and people living in them. I was like, I thought we had a hood in LA. You know, I mean, you know, in LA we got the hood, but there's palm trees. But over there, it was like depressing hood, cold and cars blowing up in the street everywhere. I was like, what the heck? I thought I was in Beirut or Iraq. It was crazy.
It's a hardworking town. It's a hardworking town.
Philly's a hardworking town, hard, loyal. I mean, tough town. And they love their teams, man. You don't mess around.
They love the Eagles. They love the Eagles.
And the Phillies.
Fly, right? Eagles, fly. Fly, Eagles, fly, baby.
Tired of talking about the Eagles. What about you? Should we move on to some basketball now?
I agree. We should fly away from that one.
Yeah, I mean the NFC least. That's all we talked about. Well, we had Russell Wilson, but well, you know, that's an easy division to win next year. I mean, Dak Prescott better win the division next year. You know, I mean, you better go to the playoffs.
Oh, I'm sure the Cowboys would have won it if Dak would have, you know, stayed healthy. Even then, they were, you know, one win away from getting there with Andy Dalton and, you know, a team that went 6-10 and still had the possibility of going to the playoffs. It's incredible. That's the NFC least for you.
Yeah. Well, the NFC least. Let's move on to some basketball. All-Star Weekend. You know, did you get a chance to watch the game or the highlights?
I did. You know, I really thought that I wasn't going to watch, but then again, there was nothing else to watch on Sunday at that hour. So I did tune in.
When's your novela come on? They don't come on Sunday?
Yeah, exactly. No, my novela was not Sundays. You know, Monday through Friday.
Reina del Sur.
But yeah, you know, it was good to see, you know, some of those guys. They looked like they had a real fun time. You know, like the 3-point contest before the game. I mean, Stephen Curry
in it.
He's insane. He's insane. I mean, he's the best shooter in the NBA right now. They were saying that he's the best 3-point shooter ever in the NBA. Now, you know what? He's great. However, I would put my money on Larry Bird just because of the fact that Larry Bird was that type of a guy that he did not like to lose. Just like Michael, it's a completely different era. They thought differently. I would put my money on Larry Bird. Obviously, he's not as skilled. He didn't take shots from, half court most of the time. But if you get Larry Bird in a 3-point, shootout with anybody, I put my money on Larry Bird. Larry Legend was incredible. Just like, they mentioned during the 3-point contest, who's shooting for second place? And that's exactly what Larry Bird said when he went into the locker room. He went in, knowing that he was the guy to beat and he was that brash. And he said, all right, so who's shooting for second place? So I would put my money on Larry Bird, but I would love to see a 3-point contest, in their prime between Bird and Stephon Curry. I don't know if you think that, Steph is better. He's definitely got better handle, and he can create his job.
I will never put my money on the Celtics, Boston, anything. Okay. First of all, Larry Bird, would never. Okay. Second of all, I think Curry has the same swag and confidence, but he's different he does it differently. He's very smooth.
Yes. He's humble. He's more humble.
He's smooth, but he's very competitive. He's competitive, but he's got this,
a little shimmy.
He's got this swag about him. That's smooth. Like, I saw a comedian messing with them. He was in the front row and he's like, he got Curry up there just throwing the ball up in the air and the ball goes in and he's just like he's so smooth and he's got his mouthpiece sticking out like out there just messing with these grown men, just throwing the ball up and from half court and making shots. I forgot who it was. It was funny, but he's so natural and smooth. I don't know. Larry Bird was definitely a great shooter. There was a lot of great shooters back in the day. I mean, you have Stockton, those guys, Hornacek, and I remember those guys are shooters. There's a lot of shooters back in the day, but today, who knows? I don't know. I would love to if you could get those guys somehow together and do well,
obviously those guys are 60 now, but that's another thing that and this is from a few weeks back where I saw, for example, Michael. He said his Bulls would beat LeBron and the Lakers. Now he goes, yeah, we just need to, get a little bit of rhythm going or whatever. We beat them in a 7-game series. He goes, but you just got to remember that we're all 60. But he was talking about playing them now, not in their prime. He was talking about the Bulls playing the Lakers now when they're 60.
He said LeBron, but I bet you he wouldn't say that about Shaq and Kobe's team. He wouldn't have beat those guys. Because they didn't have a center. You remember Shaq was dominant. People forget how dominant
Shaq was. Dominant. Shaq was dominant.
He was big, dominant, and just could dribble. I mean, he was something else. But the All-Star game I thought was gonna be whack. Because you put it last minute together. I didn't see the 3-point contest. I got home after that, but I saw Curry was in there. He just beat the guy from the Jazz. I mean, what's his name?
Mike Conley.
Mike Conley with the last second shot, which Mike Conley was in there. That was good to see that those big names were in there. But the All-Star game was cool. It was cool to see. LeBron knows how to recruit. He knows how to put a team together. He knows how to draft whatever.
He only played 13 minutes.
He didn't.
He played 13 minutes.
That's what great leaders do. They find other people to make them look good and let them go out there. I mean, you think about it. LeBron, you saw a glimpse of LeBron with a shooter, like a Curry. Exactly. Oh my God. Could you imagine if LeBron had a shooter like that on his team? We got a flash of seeing them together, which I didn't know it was the first time that they played together because, I forgot. I just didn't realize that. But to have Dame Lillard, you have Curry, and you had CP3 out there, the general. I was like,
wow.
They were alley-ooping.
They were alley-ooping each other. It's unreal. Like point guards alley-ooping each other.
I mean, that was cool to see because they were playing The other guys didn't have a chance. I mean,
No.
Giannis didn't miss a shot.
No, Giannis was incredible. He was the MVP. And remember, Giannis, before the game, said, "Oh my God, we're going to crush them. We've got this." And apparently, Kevin Durant and his guys were like, "Oh, we're going to come out and show them what's what." Especially like Kyrie, who didn't like that at all. But man, they just blew him away.
I mean, I saw the team from the beginning. You knew it was going to blow them away. I was like, "Geez." Yeah. I mean, Durant sure doesn't have a future as an executive in the future. That's for sure. Because he doesn't know how to put a team together. But what we saw, Jimmy? We saw the future of the New Jersey Nets. That's what we saw. Durant's team is the Nets. A bunch of one dribble guys. Yeah, they're working together right now. But when the pressure comes on in the playoffs, what have I said? What have I said all along? They're going to be ball hogging. Someone's going to be blaming each other. Now they just added Blake Griffin. I don't know. Blake Griffin went. I don't know why he went to the Nets to win a ring. That doesn't make any sense. Well, you know what? And that's something that I've got to bag on Laker fans, because Laker fans were talking about, oh, well, if Blake Griffin comes to the Lakers, oh my God, we're there for sure, blah, blah, blah. And then he went to the Nets and they're like, oh, well, he's a bum. Nobody wants him. He's way past his prime. I'm like, give me a break. So if he would have come to the Lakers, he would have been okay. But going to the Nets, now he's a bum. Well, I don't think he's a bum. I just don't know where he fits in on the Nets. I mean, yeah, he's going to be a backup. I mean, if he came to the Lakers, he would have made an impact right away because AD can get more rest. He would have fit in that role. They got Blake Griffin as a center, playing in the net on the Nets. Which he's back with DeAndre Jordan. Yeah, Jordan. Who was his center when they played with the Clippers. So they're back together again. It's like getting the band back together again. But you've got, Blake Griffin with Kyrie Irving, with the Beard, with Kevin Durant. That's just too many guys for one ball. And like you said, come playoff time, Blake Griffin is not the Blake Griffin of old, where he used to take off from like the top of the key and he seemed like he flew forever. And then, those spectacular dunks. He's not the same guy. He was never a guy who, even though he got better with his jump shot, it's not someone who can, you can trust that he's going to sink that shot at the end of the game. No. So, yes, I think, the name means a lot. I just don't know if it translates to what he can bring to the court with the Nets. They just want to stack up against LeBron. That's all they're doing. They're stacking up. They're all trying to beat LeBron. That's what they're doing. I mean, but you know what? I'll tell you right now, Kevin Durant, I don't know about that guy, man. I think he might be injury prone for the rest of his career because he's always been injury prone. Have you seen his legs? They're this big. They look like this. I mean, I've got bigger legs than Kevin Durant. I mean, I know a guy named Ed that has bigger legs than Kevin Durant. Yeah, that doesn't like to go to leg day too. I know. But the thing is that I see him. I don't see KD staying healthy. I think he's going to get hurt. Something's going to happen with him in the playoffs, or something's going to happen. Blake Griffin better step in. But I think Kyrie mentally might mess that whole thing up going into the playoffs when the pressure comes in. Yep. If they go down 2-0, like in a series, you're going to see some pointing fingers and stuff. Watch. So I agree. And Kevin Durant needs our buddy Tony's legs. He's got those massive legs, that can support half of him. Tony's legs. He's half of a Tony leg. Well, Tony's got half a leg right now, but anyways. The Samoan legs. He got Samoan legs. So supposedly Guatemalan, but I think they're Samoan, part Samoan, but we don't know. Soon to be found out, right? But yeah, I think the 76ers come out the East, even though they're stacked up, because they got a more complete team and they got a good coach, Doc Rivers. Yeah, I agree. I think the 76ers will take out the Nets in the East. They'll get frustrated. They go through Joel Embiid, who, I mean, in the old days, yes, it was all the center. In today's NBA, I think it's guard dominant. Your guards are the ones that if you have a good backcourt,
that's how you dominate the game nowadays. You have a good backcourt, a great backcourt, in Brooklyn. But like you said, all these guys have shown at one point or another that they're head cases, and you can go, down the list, and something's going to trigger them, and they're going to start pointing fingers.
That's one good thing the Lakers have, is that they have a leader, LeBron. They all respect LeBron. They all respect him, and AD. Like they have the hierarchy of the leadership, and that's one thing that's good for them. The 76ers have a good coach. In the obviously they're listening to the coach. Well, that's one thing. You have a good coach that has credibility. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see. But I don't know if you have any rookie cards, Kobe Bryant rookie cards or anything. But I just saw Kobe Bryant, 1.8 million.
Yep.
You could be in St. Lucia right now. Where is it? St. Bart, St. Kitts? Where do you want to
go? Wherever. But, you got to remember, not only was it in pristine condition, that rookie card, but it was only one of two. So to be able to get your hands on one of those cards, it's pretty hard. I don't know exactly, where they were made available, who had it or whatnot, but it's pretty difficult. I remember I had a coworker years ago who used to buy a ton of NBA cards, and he used to like the ones where, they had like a piece of the jersey attached to them, which made them a little bit more valuable. But then again, they are one of, I don't know, 100 or so. The value, is not as great when it comes to, being able to sell it for that amount of money. Now, if you can get yourself on an original Honus Wagner baseball card, now we're talking, you put all your kids through college, you retire, and you do all sorts of things.
That thing was worth $1 million when I was a kid.
Yeah. I think the latest one sold for like over 10 million. I don't know.
It's 10 million?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know, but I need to go get my cards out. That's for sure. Cause I got to check on that stuff, which is pretty crazy. All these cards. And I mean, I used to have the Beckett, the cards and all that good stuff. I still do. It's up in my mom's house.
I don't know where mine went. I really don't know. I hope that there's somewhere in my mother's house, collecting dust.
Maybe my mom cashed them in and went to casino. They've been going to the casino a lot lately. I don't know. I gotta find out.
Maybe.
Maybe
that's what they did.
They've been out in Palm Springs at the Indian casinos. I got to find out. What's going on with retired life over there, where they get all this money from. But moving on to baseball.
Hey, wait! Before we move on, you mentioned Kobe. Do you think that he should be the face of every sports league in the United States? Jeannie Buss is the one that said it, because she thinks that he should be, the new logo of the NBA. But she took it a step further, and she said that Kobe should be the face of every league. Come on, Jeannie. I mean,
come on. How do you expect her not to say that, Jimmy? Kobe's like her little brother. That's like you talking about a family member.
It's okay. It's fine if he becomes the logo of the NBA. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Who's the logo? Well, who do you think should be the logo in your family? You, your brother, your sister? I mean, who do you, you gotta root for one, or you root for yourself? I mean, I don't know, but
so my kids would tell you that I'm too ugly and I'm too old to be the face of anything.
Man, these kids are brutal. They tell us all kinds of stuff. They tell me, but I think I saw the interview.
One of my daughters just gave me the thumbs up when I said I was too ugly and too old.
Oh man. It's okay. It's okay. We'll remember that when they need money.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Gabby. I'll remember that the next time we want to go driving.
Exactly. Dad, I need a new car. Oh, what?
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, look, I heard what she said. And the reason why she said that, it wasn't because of just basketball. Kobe Bryant was a gold medal Olympian. He went to the Olympics. He represented the USA. He was that athlete that got not only the championships.
So did Michael Jordan. So did Magic Johnson.
But they got one. How many did Kobe get? He got two, right? Didn't he get 2 gold medals?
I'm not sure.
He went to a few Olympics. Kobe.
I don't know if he got 2.
I think he got 2 because he got one with LeBron and one before with them before he went. But anyways, that's what she was saying, like modeling him as a complete athlete, dedicated. to the sport, make himself better, just as an athlete, all around athlete. I mean,
he could be the face of La Liga in Spain.
Well,
he loved soccer. He loved going over there. He messed around all the time with Barcelona players. So I could see that, something like that. But NFL, come on, baseball.
I don't think, I don't think the logo of the NFL or like to represent the NFL, but look how many people are still wearing Kobe stuff. Look at Osaka, the one that won the Australian Open, the tennis player, wearing a Kobe Bryant jersey still a year later when she won the Australian Open, because the Mamba mentality.
Yes, Mamba mentality. I agree with you, but it's still fresh. It's still new.
But definitely the NBA logo. I for sure think Kobe Bryant.
I agree. I agree with Kyrie. I agree with Jeannie Buss on that. I think
another Laker. How great is
Laker.
That?
Yeah, just transition.
Lakers will be on everything. On every NBA logo, from Jerry West to Kobe Bryant. There's no Celtic, so it'll be a Laker dominant on the logo. I am truly, truly for that one, 100%. Make it happen, get it done, and let's win another championship this year, Lakers.
I told you it's a regular season now, no bubble.
Well, now we'll move on to MLB. Fans are back in some places. I don't know if they're all back everywhere, but I think in a couple of days, our governor in California is going to announce that 20% or 30% of fans are allowed back here in LA. And I don't know where else. I know Texas, I believe they're all back.
Well, yeah, Texas is an anomaly. You know that. Texas is going to have a packed house. As a matter of fact, the president of, I believe it was Texas A&M, said that for the upcoming season, no restrictions whatsoever, and they're going to allow a full crowd at home games at Texas A&M. So there you go. But going back to MLB, yeah, I think it's not only what the league wants, but also what the states and the CDC are trying to help out with getting fans back into the stadiums, and we may see more than just 20% towards the tail end of the season. But I think for opening day, especially here in California, the governor said that he expects that Angels, the Dodgers, maybe also up north with the Giants and the A's, that they're going to be able to have at least 20%.
I think Newsom wants to go to a game. That's why he likes opening day or something. He
wants to throw out the first pitch.
Yeah, probably. They might throw pitches at him from the crowd. But I'm looking online right quick here. It's different. Every stadium is different. I mean, Arizona is allowing 25%, 12,000 fans. Atlanta hasn't decided yet. Baltimore, 23,000 fans, 50% in Baltimore.
Wow.
The Red Sox, only 4,500, 12%, which Fenway is a smaller stadium.
Well, it's a small stadium, yeah, small venue.
But still, the Rockies, Dodgers, and Coors Field, they're going to allow 21,363, so 42% capacity there in Coors Field in Colorado. So they're all different. I mean, I don't see the biggest one here. Dodger Stadium, they said approximately only 11,200.
Well, it's a percentage of the total crowd. So if it's 20%, I believe Dodger Stadium holds 53,000,
something
53,000.
Like that.
Yeah, 53,000.
Well, like New York is only 10%. They're only allowing 10%. Both New York stadiums. So they're all different.
But the good thing is that we're getting fans back into the stadiums. We saw that even with small crowds at the World Series and during the playoffs, it made a difference, even though they still have, piped in sound, but the fans did make a difference. Now, the one thing is, what happens if it's a game-winning grand slam that someone hits? Do you think you're going to be able to contain fans from high-fiving, from, hugging and being close to each other. I doubt it. I doubt it.
Well, I mean, look at the Dodgers. I mean, when they won the World Series, they're at in Texas, Arlington. I mean, we won the World Series. I mean, what did the fans do there? I mean, they were hugging, and I would have been hugging everybody that I was there too. I was hugging everybody where I was at, high fiving, crying, playing "I Love LA" the song. We did the whole thing. But I don't know. Obviously, it worked there, so So I think I think we'll be fine. The
vaccine is making a big difference as well. I think that's why most leagues are very optimistic about how 2021 is going to be, as opposed to during the pandemic year, just because of the fact that I think by the end of April, probably middle of May, most people who want to have a shot are going to be able to have it. So that, that's going to help a lot. So figure June, July, I think things are going to open up a little bit more.
Oh, I can't wait to be in Chavez Ravine at a ball game. Oh man, there's nothing like going to Dodger Stadium for a baseball game. I mean,
but the whole point of going to Dodger Stadium is to catch the game and not to sit at the bar and have beers all day long.
That's why I'll be right. Metrolink.
But I'll be right there with you, so don't worry about it.
You might be in the press box. You never know. You might be. I might cheers you up there in the press box.
Let me know. Let me know when, and I won't work that day.
We'll cheers. We'll take our $50 michelada and we'll cheers you right there from the press box. Yeah, they probably went up because they need to make money to pay.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you think concession prices are going to go sky high now, considering that they're only going to have 20% capacity in the stadium? Are they going to jack up the prices even more?
Who knows? Who knows? I mean, Jeannie Buss was talking about how, not having fans has affected their because they're not a corporation. They're a family-run business like other teams are. But we're lucky because our owners are very, they have a lot of money. But other teams, I'm sure they're probably being affected big time. But who knows? There's always a will. There's a way around that, Jimmy. There's a will. There's a way.
After being away from sporting events, I'm willing to bet that there's a lot of people that are willing to pay $45 now for a michelada instead of the 30 that it was before.
You imagine how much those tickets are going to be cost opening day more than the World Series. They'll be more than the World Series.
Unbelievable. I put them up on eBay or wherever it is right now, Angel. Just if people want to buy some opening day Dodger tickets, my man Angel here, he's got you covered.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're like you don't want to spend a lot of money at the stadium, you can do what our buddy Gus does. He just shows up swerving already. Like he's already he's already lit. I don't know how he does it, but we don't recommend you do that, but that's what people do. They have, privilege because
well, he knows how to go about it.
Yeah, exactly. But, it was funny. I was watching the other day, I was watching Trevor Bauer mess with the Padres. You see him pitching with one eye. Come on, Machado.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? That was funny. And, he didn't want to say exactly why he did it. He just said, well, you know what? I figure if they can't hit me with one eye open, they're not going to touch me with two eyes open when I pitch.
Well, I think I need to hit the golf ball with one eye closed. They say you're supposed to look at it with your left eye so you hit it better. But I got to practice the Trevor Bauer.
You know what I've noticed? I hit it better when I have both my eyes closed.
Exactly. Both my eyes closed and a few brewskis at the same time.
There you go.
So yeah, I mean MLB, they're making it happen. Their spring training is happening. It's kind of weird still watching the whole switching, but whatever. As long as they get their stuff together and get it rolling.
I don't get spring training. It's
whatever. As long as they get their stuff going. But moving on to our last topic here. Well, not our last one, but one of our last ones. I know we got boxing coming up this weekend.
Oh, some great fights. Some great fights. I think that's the big fight this weekend. Juan Francisco Estrada, El Gallo Estrada, and Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. They fought an incredible fight 9 years ago, 2012, and Chocolatito Gonzalez won a unanimous decision. Since then, though, these guys have been in major brawls. I mean, these guys don't know what it is to take a step back. Chocolatito was considered one of the best pound for pound fighters for a while, and then he suffered just an incredible knockout to the Thai boxer Surungvisai, Sursiskatek Surungvisai, something like that. Don't ask me to spell it because I can't, even if I had it in front of me. But he's a guy that he goes up there and he just throws bombs. He lands bombs and he gets hits with bombs. And Estrada also, I think, to me right now, Gallo Estrada is probably in the top 10 pound for pound. He's that good. So it's going to be an incredible fight. It's going to take place in Dallas this weekend. There's going to be fans there. If you can watch, because this is a fans fight, an incredible fight. Also, David Benavidez is fighting this weekend against Ronald Ellis. Interesting this weekend because of the fact that, David Benavidez has been talking a lot. And I think he says he'll beat Canelo. He wants Canelo. He wants Caleb Plant. I think he's the guy that could give both Caleb Plant and Canelo a run for their money right now. I don't know if he would beat Canelo. Honestly, I really don't. Because he does get hit with a lot of punches. I think he beats Caleb Plant, my personal opinion. But, a very interesting fight with Ronald Ellis this weekend, who's, I believe, 18-1 and 12 knockouts. And Benavidez is undefeated. The only place where he's lost is, he got stripped because he got caught doing drugs.
What is that fight on? Is it on ESPN Plus or something? I forgot.
I don't no, I believe the Benavidez fight is on Showtime.
Gotcha.
And the Chocolatito fight is on DAZN.
Oh, okay.
So they're going to be two good fights.
Yeah, Chocolatito messed up, man. He had a career going for, he was gone on another level, and then he just got.
No, he got pummeled by Surungvisai.
The same thing could happen to Teofimo Lopez. He's on top of the world right now, and you never know. Boxing, you never know. You never
get
know.
Hit with.
It's not like UFC. Punch. These guys in UFC lose one fight and they're still the top of it's a completely different,
it's run differently.
Yeah, it's run completely different. Talking about UFC, we had a fight this last weekend. Amanda Nunes. Who the heck is going to challenge Amanda Nunes? She plays with her opponents. Did you get to see the fight?
You know what? I did not see it. I saw highlights of the fight.
The girl was huge
by armbar. Yeah. Armbar submission, which that used to be Ronda Rousey's, way of winning fights with an armbar.
But it wasn't the armbar. It was the putazos to the freaking head that freaking knocked her.
Look, tell you what, I would hate to be even a guy standing in front of Amanda Nunes and taking her blow. Those chingazos are hard, man.
Amanda Nunes would have beat the freaking guy that fought Canelo last week. She was.
Yes.
She socked her in the head a couple of times, and the girl was just. That was it. It was over. Lights out. She dropped her, and it was a big girl too. And then Amanda Nunes got her baby. She had her no big deal. She had the baby in the ring, hugging everybody, and oh man, I'd hate.
Yeah, she's a tough one. She's a tough one.
I don't know who they're gonna wait till she gets older and then they're gonna beat her, because that's what it looks like. It's like one of those fighters that are so good in their prime that you have to wait till they lose a step and then they beat them.
The one woman who everybody thought could have beaten Amanda Nunes was Chris Cyborg. Amanda Nunes just absolutely destroyed her, pummeled her. It was one of those knockouts that you said, wow, Chris Cyborg is not going to be the same after that. She took a beating, so much so that Dana White said, we don't want her in UFC anymore, and she went to Bellator.
Amanda Nunes has that power, man. It's like the boxers. Those those boxers that they when they hit you, boom, they got power. It's you can see the difference.
She's got Mike
boxers
Tyson
just
power.
go at it. They don't, nothing happens, and then there's that one boxer just hits you and you're done. Like that's what she
Yeah.
has. She's got that power. But the main event was Israel. Was it Adesanya and John Blachowicz? They're Blachowicz. I don't know how to say his last name, Blachowicz, whatever. But John and Israel, he was talking a lot of shit, right? He was talking a lot. I heard him on all these channels, talking a big game.
But he was going up in weight. That's the thing. He was going up in weight to light heavy and try to win, that title. He didn't succeed. He lost by unanimous decision.
Yeah, the guy was too big for him. The way the guy won, because I mean they were trading blows. I mean, it kind of looked like there's Israel was gonna get a kick on like one of those vicious kicks because he had he's solid. He had those moves on him, and then it's just when John got on the last couple rounds when he just sat on top of him. Yeah, it was like I hate that. That was one of the reasons I didn't like UFC when they sit on top of you or they hold each other there for like a minute or two. Like what the like. There should be a rule like 30 seconds, break their asses apart, make them throw chingazos. You know what I mean? Like let them fight, let them do something, like, I don't know. I just.
Well, they try to control, the guy on the ground, when they grapple, and try to, get some sort of hold for a submission. But yeah, a lot of the times, if they can't do that, they'll just sit there and use their body weight on you so you get tired. You try to get away from that. And that's what some of these guys do.
And then he came in, John, I think 20 pounds over the weight, whatever the weight was that day. So this guy moved up in weight, but he moving up in weight, he stayed there. The other guy just came in naturally, probably had got an asada burrito or something, before the fight and 20 pounds went up real quick and he just laid on him. And, yeah, you could tell the guy that was not his division. The guy Israel, he needed to go back to whatever division he's in and stay there because the guy was too big for him.
Yeah, I agree. I think he bit off a bit too much.
Yeah. So one good news, they won today, the ACC, whatever they won one of the games. So I guess they advanced to the next.
Oh, they advanced to the next round and ACC tournament for March Madness is coming up.
Juventus is up too right now, 2-1 on your team FC Porto right now. So,
Juventus was down 3-1.
Right now.
Well, 2-1, so that means it's 3-3, and it's 3-3. But let's see, they both. You know what? They need to go to extra time because they both scored 2 at home and 1 on the road. So right now it looks like extra time.
Yep. You can catch the end of that, but that's a soccer.
Yeah. We'll be talking a lot more Champions League coming up once it gets into the latter stages.
Well, I better start watching it because I'm not really a big soccer. I still got my Galaxy.
Yeah. Don't worry.
LAFC.
We'll get you.
America. I'm going to wear a America jersey from Mexico. I want to piss some people off.
Oh God. Yeah, no, definitely not.
Chilangos. Oh, Chilangos, they're going to support me and got my back,
and you know what? Since we're going to have the NCAA tourney coming up pretty soon, how about next week when we record this, we have, I'm going to bring a buddy of mine who's into all that, all the bets, all the lines. So all you degenerates who are waiting for March Madness to throw down some money to go to Vegas and get ready for March Madness, we'll have you covered here next week with all the money lines, all the bets and everything for March Madness.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Let's get those bets in. March Madness. It's March Madness right now. I guess as the conference championships get over with, they'll move into March Madness and
we'll have the brackets. We can fill in our brackets next week.
Absolutely.
Because I believe that's we get to find out the brackets this coming Sunday.
Miami's going to make it.
I doubt it. They had a horrible season.
They beat Pitt. If they win the ACC, will they advance?
If they win the ACC, they get an automatic bid. But no, I don't see that happening at all. Miami plays with this type of ball. Not that one.
Not the round one. Yeah.
Not that one.
Not that one.
This one.
Stick to that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And even a little baseball. But
You got some players come out of there from baseball.
They had a few decent basketball seasons, which they've made it decent way in the tourney. But no, definitely this is the ball for Miami.
Yeah, we'll see. It hasn't been for the last 20 years, but we'll see.
Yeah, well.
Hopefully they get back to, used to it. But anything else, Jimmy? This is our closing out the show. I mean, we covered football, baseball, basketball, UFC, boxing, everything in between, and we even threw a little soccer in there. Wow.
I know you even gave us the 5 good seconds of soccer.
That's the only seconds I got of soccer. I don't know too much about soccer. Soccer wasn't a big. You remember growing up in California, in LA, in the 90s, in the 80s and 90s. Soccer was not here. It was. My dad would watch the World Cup, and I would see that. I remember, Argentina won, when I was a kid, and all those teams. My dad was a big soccer guy. I wasn't. He was more old school. He grew up, when he lived in Mexico City,
right?
But here it wasn't. We didn't care about soccer.
I remember your dad telling me about the 1970 World Cup in Mexico City and seeing Pelé and Rivelino, Tostado, and all those guys with Brazil. Yeah, that's big.
I just heard those stories as a kid, so I know who they are, but I just always heard the stories. But then I never had anybody to root for here in LA. We didn't have it. Galaxy wasn't around. We didn't have nobody to root for. So the only thing we look forward to was the World Cup, which I love the World Cup. I mean, that's the most. Playing for their countries, the prideful. I mean, that's exciting. So,
well, the Euro Cup is this year.
Yeah,
in the summer. I believe we're like 90 some days away from Euro Cup. So we'll be talking a little bit about that.
I got to vote for my roots. Time comes. Spain. I got to root for my history, my bloodline, España.
There you go.
So, I don't know if Torres is still playing, but that's my Spanish.
El Niño Torres? No, not anymore. El Niño Torres he retired.
Well, one of my cousins or somebody from the bloodline, but we'll bring some more. That's great. The Euro Cup and soccer and all the good stuff happening. But yeah, March Madness, get the brackets ready next week. We'll get that going. The bets, I'll be in Vegas this weekend, so I need to find out what's going on because I got to throw some bets down in Vegas. So
there you go.
Dodgers World Series, Lakers NBA champions, Rams Super Bowl winners next year. So
sure. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So, all right. Well, that's our show, guys. Thank you for listening and watching the show. But we'll see you next week. Jimmy Wee, Angel O.
Remember to subscribe.
Follow us on Instagram. And remember, it's all about
the U, baby.
LA. See you, everybody, next week. Take care.